Hey everyone, welcome to Page Neuro. My name is Brandon Tagliavini, and today's lecture is about the superficial muscles of the head. Now let's begin. I'm using this new Anatomage app that I just downloaded from iOS platform. It's a very neat anatomical model for your studies and everything. I hope you will enjoy it as I did. Now, let's begin with the occipital frontalis muscle, this huge muscle of the head, as you can see here. It is called occipital frontalis because it has two bellies, the frontalis and the occipitalis. It is a superficial muscle of facial expression and also a muscle of the scalp. The occipitalis belly is a thin quadrilateral muscle in the posterior scalp here. And the frontalis is a thin and flat band in the anterior scalp. These two muscle bellies are connected by the galea aponeurotica. That's a broad fibrous tissue that's covering the cranium. Now, talking about the occipitalis part, its origin is in this occipital bone and it's inserted in the galea aponeurotica. And it's innervated via facial nerve via its posterior auricular branch. The action is to draw the scalp posteriorly, and its blood supply is from the occipital artery. Now, talking about the frontalis belly, the origin is from galea aponeurotica, and insertion is on the skin above eyebrows. The innervation is also via facial nerve via its temporal branches. The action is to draw the scalp anteriorly and also raise the eyebrows and also the skin over the nose and eyes. It is supplied by the supraorbital artery and also supratrochlear arteries. Now let's remove it so you can see how big this muscle is. Let's remove. Here you can see the skull without it. And let's go to the lateral muscles. Here we have the superior auricular muscle that covers partially the temporalis muscle. The superior auricular muscle is one of the superficial muscles of facial expression and also one of the muscles of the ear. Its origin is in the aponeurosis between frontalis and occipitalis. The insertion is in the upper part of the cranial surface of the auricle. It's innervated via facial nerve via its temporal branch. And the action is to slightly raise the auricula. The blood supply comes from the posterior auricular artery. Now I will remove it so you can see. Here we have the auricularis anterior or anterior auricular muscle. It's also one of the superficial muscles of facial expression and for the ear. It's originated on the anterior portion of the temporal fascia and inserted on the projection of the front of the helix of the ear. It's innervated via its temporal branch from facial nerve. Let's remove. So you can see here we have the temporalis muscle. That's a broad radiating muscle that's situated at the side of the head and also covers much of the parietal and temporal bones. Let's remove so you can see the bones here. Okay, you can see with and without the muscle. Here we have the frontal bone, here we have the parietal bone, and here the temporal. Look how it is. Its origin is at the temporal fossa and temporal fascia. The insertion is in the coronoid process and anterior ramus of the mandible, and innervation via trigeminal nerve via its mandibular or V3. The action is to elevate and retract the mandible against the maxilla, and the blood supply comes from the anterior and posterior deep temporal arteries. Also, this muscle is very important for neurosurgical procedures, as it should be trespassed to reach the pterium, that's this region. It's a very common approach for aneurysms, tumor, or any other approach to the lateral surface of the brain. That's it. That's my lecture. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button, and also share it with your friends. Thanks a lot.